If you had to build next $1 billion thing, what would it be?
Voice is
very underexplored still.
the data labeling business is still very underrepresented in the economy.
Let's say you were to plug AI into Indian government. What would be that one department you would want to enter?
I would probably enter defense. Like you'll have, instead of bigger tanks, you'll have smaller drones. You'll have AI coordinating most of these drone attacks. You'll have cyber attacks.
कोई dumbest AI business कोई कर रहा हो and it's making a lot of money.
Movie match that somebody had built. It's like a Tinder for movies. Movie recommendation, they swipe left, swipe right, and whenever they match, it gets stored into their list of movies. And on their movie night, they actually just open it and say, okay, yeah, this is the movie that we want to watch together.
हम US और China से कितना पीछे?
Decades, probably. We don't have chips. We don't have energy infrastructure.
What's your biggest worry?
I would say probably a rogue AGI. Model or a general AI system can actually do most of the work that humanity can do today.
AI. That AI could soon lead to human extinction.
खुद से खुद की डिसीजन ले रहा है. I think that is a big risk right now.
If building app and building software becomes easy, what's going to be harder now?
Hardest part will be finding the right ideas, distribution, taste, and the personalization of software. Like every business needs a custom software. People will increasingly get more and more dynamic, on-demand software.
Do you think in 5 years, coding will just become irrelevant?
I think coding will evolve. Most of the work that you will be doing is guiding our agents. How do you sort of provide them feedback? How do you sort of give them the right objective to go and seek?
One skill that will become absolutely worthless in next 2 years.
I feel the middle is going to be occupied by AI completely. People who are good at problem solving, their leverage will increase multifold. One person will run millions of dollars worth of company on his own. And then you'll have a bottom layer, which is just helping AI get better at things. And the top layer would be direct the AIs.
In simple words, what does Emergent do?
तो Emergent एक प्लेटफॉर्म है जहाँ पे आप आओ या आपको क्या सॉफ्टवेयर बनाना है एंड Emergent का जो एजेंट है वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपके लिए वो सॉफ्टवेयर बना देगा. आपको डेवलपर कोडर नहीं चाहिए.
अगर आपके पास अभी 1 लाख रुपए होते हैं एंड नेक्स्ट 12 मंथ्स में आपको उसको 1 करोड़ करना है तो क्या करोगे? गिव मी अ प्लेबुक.
तो आई थिंक आई विल पिक.
क्या आपको पता है कि आप बिना किसी कोडिंग एक्सपीरियंस के, बिना किसी टीम के सिर्फ कुछ दिनों में अपनी ऐप या वेबसाइट बना सकते हो एंड उसे एक्चुअल में पैसों के लिए सेल कर सकते हो? ऑल यू नीड इज अ लैपटॉप एंड एन AI टूल. आज एक इंसान ऐसी चीज बिल्ड कर सकता है जो 3 साल पहले 10 लोगों की टीम भी नहीं कर पाती थी. लोग 1 लाख से लेके 1 करोड़ तक अर्न कर रहे हैं सिर्फ कुछ महीनों में. ये बिगेस्ट वेल्थ क्रिएशन अपॉर्चुनिटी है हमारी जनरेशन की. बट मोस्ट पीपल they don't know that it's happening. आज हमारे गेस्ट है मुकुंद झा, फाउंडर एंड CEO ऑफ इमर्जेंट. इन्होंने देखा है और खुद ऐसा AI टूल बनाया है जिससे आप रियल मनी अर्न कर सकते हैं. इस कॉन्वर्सेशन में वो बताएंगे कि एग्जैक्टली कैसे स्टार्ट करें इसे, क्या बिल्ड करने की अपॉर्चुनिटीज प्रेजेंट हैं आज के ज़माने में और कैसे आप भी इससे पैसे अर्न कर सकते हैं. एपिसोड एंड तक जरूर देखिए. एंड टू लर्न मोर अबाउट इमर्जेंट AI, चेक आउट द लिंक इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन कि इस टूल को यूज करके आप कैसे ऐप बना सकते हो और उसे बेचकर पैसे कैसे कमा सकते हो. इन सिंपल वर्ड्स, व्हाट डज इमर्जेंट डू?
तो Emergent एक प्लेटफॉर्म है जहाँ पे आप आओ और डिस्क्राइब करो प्लेन इंग्लिश में, हिंदी में, जिस भी लैंग्वेज चाहते हो कि आपको क्या सॉफ्टवेयर बनाना है. एंड Emergent का जो एजेंट है वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपके लिए वो सॉफ्टवेयर बना देगा. एंड प्रोडक्शन ग्रेड जिसको आप डिप्लॉय कर सकते हो, यूज़ कर सकते हो, आप अपना बिजनेस ला सकते हो सॉफ्टवेयर पे. तो आप आओ, आप डिस्क्राइब करो, आप चैट करो, जस्ट लाइक आप एक डेवलपर से बात करोगे वैसे आप इससे बात करो. हम ऑटोमेटिकली आपके लिए पूरा सॉफ्टवेयर बना देंगे.
तो आप मेरे लिए ऐप बना दोगे, डैशबोर्ड बना दोगे,
ऐप, मोबाइल ऐप. हाँ,
तो मुझे आज डेवलपर कोडर नहीं चाहिए.
आपको डेवलपर कोडर नहीं चाहिए.
बट टेल मी, कोडर्स के साथ क्या होगा? इतने सारे लोग जो हैं जिन्होंने सालों पढ़ाई करी, कोडिंग सीखी, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स बने.
राइट.
अब यूजुअली अगर पहले मुझे कोई ऐप बनवानी होती होगी तो मैं उनके पास जाऊंगा, उनको बोलूँगा, एक्सप्लेन करूँगा, फिर वो महीने लगाएंगे और फिर मुझे बना के देंगे. राइट. वर्सेस नाउ यू आर टेलिंग मी आई जस्ट हैव टू राइट एंड डू इट.
या
तो फिर तो खत्म. उनका क्या होगा इतने सालों जो पढ़ाई करी जिन्होंने?
I mean, I think coding as a space is evolving बहुत जल्दी. हाँ, राइट. तो अभी आप देखोगे लोग जो, तो हम लोग नॉन डेवलपर के लिए बने हुए हैं. हाँ, पीपल हु डोंट हैव एनी टेक्निकल बैकग्राउंड, you don't need to know coding.
बट टेक्निकली एक तरीके से जॉब या बिजनेस तो मैं उन्हीं से ले रहा हूँ. आज मेरे जैसे जो नॉन डेवलपर्स हैं, नॉन कोडर्स हैं, हमें कुछ नहीं आता, मेरे से बहुत लोग होंगे, बहुत सारे बिजनेस ओनर्स, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, स्मॉल बिजनेसेस चला रहे होंगे कंट्री में, जो किसी सॉफ्टवेयर स्पेशलिस्ट के पास जाएंगे कि यार हमारी बिजनेस में, हमारी दुकान में, हमारी फैक्ट्री में, हमारे धंधे में ये प्रॉब्लम है, तुम इसके लिए कोई ऐप बना दो, सॉफ्टवेयर बना दो ताकि सॉल्व हो जाए. फ्रॉम अ स्मॉल की ERP, इन्वेंटरी, व्हाटएवर, राइट, टू द मोस्ट एडवांस वंस. आप आए, आपके ऐप में डायरेक्ट हो जाता, तो मुझे इतने लोगों की जरूरत ही नहीं है, अब मेरे को किसी कोडर के जाने की जरूरत नहीं है.
हाँ, आई थिंक
तो उनकी जॉब तो गई.
मतलब आई थिंक इन लोगों की जॉब्स जो है, मतलब आई डेफिनेटली थिंक कि लाइक यू नो मिड लेवल इंजीनियर्स, you know, उन लोग like they would probably need to graduate to a higher level function. Like, I mean, they'll probably become product owners. I also think there'll be an explosion of, you know, entrepreneurship. There'll be an explosion of people building new businesses in new niches, right? And those will be the opportunities that sort of open up for people, right?
But I'm typically worried about India. India is known for IT dream.
Yes.
आप सालों मेहनत करो.
Yes.
फिर आप 2-3 साल एक इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में एंट्री करने के लिए और मेहनत करो. फिर आप इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में जाओ 3-4 साल. फिर आप बहुत ही एंट्री लेवल जॉब किसी एक बड़ी कंपनी में लो, वहाँ पे 4-5 साल सीखो, देन यू आर एट अ पोजीशन वेयर यू कैन मेक सम मनी. राइट. तो ये जो 15-20 साल आप बहुत मेहनत करते हो, राइट, 20 years, 22, 23 years, व्हाटएवर, उसके बाद आपके पैसे बनने वाले थे, अब वो भी खत्म. So what will happen to these people? What do they need to focus on? I understand that this is how the technology is. आप नहीं बनाओगे, कोई और बनाएगा. World is moving towards that. Get it. But what should these people do now? Junior, जो एकदम बहुत ही talented और skilled and somebody who's very good software developer, they'll thrive. They'll build it. The top 1% will kill it. वो शायद यही tools use करके और better बन जाएंगे. That will happen. जो junior और mid level हैं, उनका क्या?
I think everybody should learn AI right now, and you know, get
and
on
learn
the
what?
I mean, learn vibe coding, like on platform like ours, on how to build software. Abhi, you know, you can actually like build software much faster, and you know, there is a lot of demand for you to sell that, right? And you should learn how to automate things. You know, how do you build agents, right? And I feel like we are going to go through this period of uncertainty for a little bit, right? Like where new job roles will need to be defined. But I think AI is going to give you so much leverage कि every single person would be able to do a lot more. And the growth in economy will be like way, way bigger, right? अभी जैसे हमारा GDP growth 2-3% US का है, right? Over the next 5 years, maybe it's at 10%. Right, and kind of productivity again that we have never seen before, right? So I think in my mind,
for me that's contradictory. It doesn't make sense.
What is contradictory?
This part. अगर सब AI करेगा, जॉब्स ही नहीं होंगी, तो इकोनॉमी में पैसे, लाइक कंजम्पशन कैसे बढ़ेगा, खरीदेगा कौन? क्योंकि अर्निंग कम हो रही है, तो डेफिनेटली कंजम्पशन गोना गो लो फॉर अ वेरी, एंड एवरीबडी से कि ये शॉर्ट 3-4 साल का टर्मोइल होगा एंड देन एवरीथिंग. बट आई थिंक अगर 3-4 साल लोग पैसे नहीं कमाते हैं या उनकी जॉब्स जाती है, तो उसका इफेक्ट 5-10 साल रहता है. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि 3 साल एकदम से आप कवर करके नया कुछ बना लोगे.
एग्जांपल है, जैसे हॉर्स कैरेज इंडस्ट्री था, राइट, जब कार्स आए थे, पीपल हैड द सेम फियर कि तब बहुत बड़ी इकॉनमी थी, लाइक देयर रफली अबाउट 20,000-30,000, you know, in like 1900 there were roughly like 20,000 shops जो कि हॉर्स कैरेज बनाते थे. there was a whole industry हॉर्स को फीड करने के लिए, you know, रोड साफ करने के लिए, सब कुछ था. एंड जब कार्स आए तो there was a big fear कि कार्स आएंगे, अब कार्स, you know, हॉर्स इंडस्ट्री को रिप्लेस कर देंगे, क्या होगा, लाइक सबकी जॉब चली जाएगी. एंड आई मीन there was a large part of economy जो डिपेंडेंट था उसके ऊपर, राइट. एंड हुआ क्या, जब कार्स आए, millions of new jobs got created because you know, like अब रिपेयर, कार की रिपेयर चाहिए, cities got bigger, right? And I think like similar things are going to happen, right? Where I think new, like I think अभी जो जैसे आप चला पा रहे हो पॉडकास्ट, and सब बहुत लोगों का ड्रीम है कि मैं भी पॉडकास्ट चलाऊंगा, राइट. एंड बट दे डोंट हैव रिसोर्सेज, दे डोंट हैव, यू नो, दिस थिंग, एंड दे विल बी एबल टू बिल्ड दैट आउट. एंड अगर इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, आई मीन देयर आर मल्टीपल वर्जन्स इन विच द वर्ल्ड विल प्ले आउट, राइट. वन वर्जन इज कि लाइक देयर विल बी लॉट ऑफ अबंडेंस, राइट. लाइक लोगों को, यू नो, काम करने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी, क्योंकि, यू नो, लाइक there is enough सारा काम AI कर रहा है.
तो पैसे कौन कमा के ला के देगा?
Universal basic income. आप लोगों को like.
But that's bad. That's gonna be bad.
No, I think there will be like some.
It's just like किंग के ज़माने में राशन जैसा मिलने वाला है भाई, सबको एक बराबर थोड़े थोड़े पैसे मिल जाएंगे और
सब अपना पैशन पे काम करेंगे, right? And राशन नहीं, abundance है, right? Like everybody is living in a bigger house, everybody is living in better light, and मेरे को लगता है कि the human progress is going to be exponential, right? Over the next decade or so, and right now is really truly the best time to sort of really create a generational wealth. Anybody who's building an AI has that opportunity.
Tell me one side is generational wealth. We'll come to how to make money in the AI world.
Right.
Before that, tell me, do you think in 5 years coding will just become like learning to ride a horse cart, like irrelevant? It'll just be a hobby. Not like essential skill to build something bigger.
I think coding will evolve. I think most of it will be on how do you guide your agents. Imagine अगर एक साथ 10,000 agents चल रहे हैं जो कि आप पूरा सॉफ्टवेयर लिख रहे हैं, and your job is to observe कि कौन सा agent कहाँ फेल हो रहा है, मैं agent को कैसे डायरेक्ट करूँ. You're mostly like a manager, right, of multiple agents. You're also you need to have very good debugging skills to identify कि कहाँ पे problem फंस रहा है. You'll also be because AI will make some very silly mistake जो जहाँ पे सब कुछ अटक जाएगा जाके, right? And you need to have that observation skill to sort of observe that, right? And I think fundamentals still matters. अगर आपको fundamentals नहीं आएंगे अच्छे तो ये सब चीज़ें करना बहुत मुश्किल है. And जो लोग अच्छा कर रहे होंगे उनका वैल्यू बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ता जाएगा, right? If you are somebody who can actually because people like you will be throwing, let's say, millions of dollars on, let's say, some agentic run, which is like, let's say I said ki build me the next Google, right? And I'm going to give it $1 million and let the agent sort of go and build that thing, right? And now the somebody who's controlling that, so the cost of failure is pretty high, right? So somebody who can sort of look at that, manage that, probably like, I don't know, maybe 3 years out, 4 years out. But most of the work that you will be doing is essentially like guiding our agents, like how do you sort of provide them feedback, how do you sort of give them the right objective to sort of goal seek. ये सारी चीजें काफी important बन जाएगी.
Tell me if somebody is watching this right now,
right?
और उसको पैसे कमाने बस, right? So let's build next couple of minutes over just this one person who wants to make a lot of money, okay? So if I like give you what's going on in the world, and AI is, you're pretty dominant on that.
Right.
अगर आपके पास अभी 1 लाख रुपए होते हैं and next 12 months में आपको उसको 1 करोड़ करना है, तो क्या करोगे? Give me a playbook. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, what would you do?
So I think I will pick कि आपका domain क्या है. There must be something that you
What would you do? Let's just forget everyone. Let's say you're not founder of Emergent and you are just a random dude under 30 sitting in your 20s.
Right.
And be like, मेरे पास 1 लाख रुपए है, अब मेरे को इस साल 1 करोड़ कमाने हैं.
I will probably start building in public so that I start building my distribution on day 0 because I think वो skill काफी like hard है लोगों के लिए बनाना. कि काफी लोग हैं जो कि like they will build in their basement, but it's very hard to build them publicly. Secondly, I will find जिस भी आप जॉब में हो, जो भी आप कर रहे हो, आपका कोई एक वर्क फ्लो होगा जो कि आप ऑटोमेट कर सकते हो फुल्ली आज AI के थ्रू. लाइक यू कैन लर्न अबाउट कि लेट्स से आप बैंक में हो और यू आर डूइंग सम इंश्योरेंस पेपर वर्क और like maybe you are doing some video editing, these kind of things, right? Whatever work you are doing, you can sort of look at that workflow and say, hey, what parts of input output can AI do today? Can I package that as a as a AI tool or as a AI platform, right? And I would start like automating that part and start selling that to people as the first step, because abhi people who are very close to domain, right? Like abhi like AI is very general, right? Like it still requires a lot of input into कि ये workflow कैसे automate करना है, right? And I would say कि like there will be new kind of industries that will get created right now, right? Like every single industry is going to become AI first, right? Like, I mean, a lot of the old industry will disappear, and there will be like bottom up AI first industry that will get created, right? So I would say that the playbook I would follow is that, hey, whatever work you're doing, figure out, okay, what are the parts that AI can automate? Can you sort of, you can build that on Emergent today, right? You can, like automate that part of the things, start selling it to, people around you, right? And then sort of grow from there.
I asked this question to one of my strategists. Okay, and he came up with an idea which I really like.
Okay.
I think he found it on some reel or Instagram, or maybe he found it through ChatGPT or Gemini. I don't know, but I think it's an interesting idea कि अगर किसी को अभी आज Emergent से पैसे बनाना start कर रहे हैं,
right?
The easiest and the fastest way, which is almost like idiot proof, कोई भी start कर सकता है, is this, that तुम Google पे जाओ, वहाँ पे सर्च करो आसपास लोकल बिजनेसेस जो तुम्हें लगता है तुम्हारे आसपास दुकानें बड़ी है, कोई चीज़ अच्छी है, कोई मे बी लेट्स से कोई मैकेनिक है, कोई स्वीट शॉप है, कोई दुकान है, किसी का कोई सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है, सैलून है, व्हाटएवर, उन लोगों का बिजनेस ढूंढो, फाइंड आउट एंड लिस्ट डाउन एवरीबडी जो हाई वैल्यू क्लाइंट है, एंड उनकी वेबसाइट नहीं है वहाँ पे, वहाँ पे सिर्फ कॉल है और डायरेक्शंस है गूगल मैप पे, वेबसाइट का बटन ही नहीं है, वो उन लोगों का उस पे जाओ, देन गो टू ChatGPT, copy their business name, services, what they do, etc. etc. ChatGPT को बोलो कि भाई मुझे एक prompt लिख के दे ताकि मैं इस business के लिए एक high value, high converting website बना सकूं, और ऐसी देना कि जो मैं एक Emergent या no code platform को prompt दे सकूं. ChatGPT तुम्हें बढ़िया सा prompt दे देगा, वो उठा के Emergent पे डालो, ship करो, तुम्हारे सामने वेबसाइट आ जाएगी बहुत ही जल्दी, देन वो वेबसाइट जाके उस इंसान को बेच दो. किसी को तुम 5,000 में बेचोगे, किसी को 10 लाख में बेचोगे, बट यू विल जस्ट स्टार्ट सेलिंग लेफ्ट राइट सेंटर. एंड इंडिया में इतने छोटे छोटे बिजनेसेस हैं जो करोड़ों पे ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, स्टिल उनकी कोई वेबसाइट नहीं है. राइट. लाइक देयर इज नो वेबसाइट. इन फैक्ट it's funny that I don't have a website.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have a website. Like we have been we have been trying to make website since years, but it's like हम लोग इतने काम में busy रहते हैं कि हम लोग दिमाग ही लगाते हैं. हम I must have spent insane amount of money by just paying to agencies and not getting back to them with answers. Like तो अगर कोई मेरे को बना के रेडीमेड दे दो मैं आज ही. So ऐसे बहुत लोग हैं. Right. So they can do it. I think it's one of the easiest way to make money. Go find out businesses जिसमें वेबसाइट नहीं है, उनकी वेबसाइट बनाओ, उनको बना के दे दो पिक्चर्स के साथ, and बेचो. Right. Just
I agree. I think a lot of people are doing that on Emergent right now.
Left, right, center, you will make money, right? और तुमने तो बना दी almost at no cost.
Right. Yes.
10,000 में ही बेच दो, क्या है?
नहीं, I think cost arbitrage is pretty big right now.
Very big, right? And people can. The bigger the business you are able to find, and the better the salesman you are, the more money you'll make.
Yes. I've heard a lot of software salesmen also, like people who are great at software selling. They're building on Emergent, and because they have so far lacked the skill of building software, and now they're building it and sort of
it'll work. I know.
Yeah.
मैं इतने small businesses जानता हूँ जो कोई confectionery का business चला रहा है, कोई detergent का business चला रहा है, कोई soaps का business चला रहा है, कोई चॉकलेट, लाइक छोटे कपड़े का बिजनेस, उनकी कोई वेबसाइट नहीं है. दे आर प्रोबब्ली स्मॉल ट्रेडर्स हु डोंट नो, हु डोंट इवन हैव टाइम. दे आर लाइक दोस अंकल जो 50+ एंड भी लगा रहे हमने करोड़ों कमा लिए. वो 1 लाख रुपए ऐसे ही दे देंगे, चल ठीक है हमारी बन तो गई, इट्स गुड, जस्ट गुड टू हैव ही दे देंगे तुम्हें, जस्ट स्टार्ट सेलिंग दैट. सो दैट्स वन वे. आई थॉट इट्स गुड टू मेक
money. It's a great idea.
What do you think is one, like, simplest, or maybe I should say कोई dumbest AI business कोई कर रहा हो and it's making a lot of money and it looks like ये क्या dumb चीज़ है, normal चीज़ है, but still is making money out of Emergent to doing something?
You mean a site built on Emergent? I think there are a lot of ideas making a lot of money on Emergent right now. I saw yesterday there was this website which is buying gift cards, right? Used gift cards or unused gift cards, right? And it has like 500,000 views. राइट,
मतलब कि Amazon का तुम्हारे पास 500 रुपए का है तो वो
US का है वेबसाइट, बट Amazon का
$500 का है तो तुम
you sell it at some cheaper price, like and that person probably has another way of like he's buying cheap and selling somewhere else, right? And building that money. So I think, like people who have ideas who are closer to the domain, right? I think for them it's very easy to now distribute their ideas and build on emergent really well.
But what's something very silly and simple which you have seen somebody making money out of?
Money to nahi, but it's very simple, and one of the early ideas that I saw earlier was this movie match that somebody had built, and there's a couple and they had a problem ki they would fight on the movie night ki kaun si movie dekhe. And again, it's a very personal problem, right? And what she had built, again sitting on her couch under an hour, that it's like a Tinder for movies, and both of them get these movie recommendations. They swipe left, swipe right, and whenever they match, it gets stored into their list of movies. And on their movie night, they actually just open it and say, okay, yeah, this is the movie that we want to watch together.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and she built it under an hour. And again, like people have a lot of these ideas which had just been sitting there. She had faced this problem a lot of time. She had thought कि यार अगर movie night में हम लोग हर रोज लड़ते हैं, we spend an hour deciding कि कौन सी movie देखनी है, right? And there's a lot of these ideas getting built on Emergent today, where like people are expressing their personal problems, converting them into something useful. Yeah,
that is so cool. I would want that app.
Yeah, even
ये available है क्या? मुझे चाहिए. Tell me what's the name.
I think it's moviematch.com or something. I'll send you.
I'll download if there's an app.
Yeah, I think it's a website, but
it's sick. Yeah. I would give it to all my friends.
Right.
And I will have like individual profiles. कि जब भी कोई दोस्त होगा या मेरे मॉम डैड होंगे तो हम उनके साथ सबकी अलग अलग लिस्ट बना लूंगा मैं कि किससे क्या, ताकि सबके साथ मैचेस हमारे.
Right.
So it's pretty sick. I like this idea. Pretty cool. And if you had to build next $1 billion thing, what would it be? Today, let's say if you were not building Emergent.
I mean, I would probably pick a industry or a vertical and completely try to rebuild it with AI. Like any.
Give me an example.
For insurance, you pick any large industry today, right? And like just completely like maybe buy like an old school company and just like infuse it with AI, reimagine it with AI, and rebuild it completely. That would be one. I think voice is very, very, very underexplored still. I think voice AI is going to explode. Like it's already exploding. I like Whisper. I've used it a few times. But I think voice is still very underappreciated. I also think that even though it feels like labeling business is saturated, right, with 1Crore and a bunch of those people, I think the data labeling business is still very, very, very represented in the economy.
Tell me voice mein kya? You said voice is going to be a big thing.
Right. So I mean, abhi bhi Google mein, like India mein 50% searches are voice, right? And I mean that at least that was the number that I heard last time. And if you look at like voice interfaces are still very, very brittle, right? Like I mean, I haven't found a good note taker yet, right? And I haven't found, just if you look at, even if you do ChatGPT voice right now, right? Like the conversational abilities are low, right? And if you imagine that voice becomes the primary input into the world, right? Like then, like what are things that you would build, right? I think that problem is fairly unsolved yet.
But then ये problem is, don't you think it's like कोई अगर ये solve करने की कोशिश करे तो he's up against the giant. It's like क्योंकि ChatGPT और Gemini, Google खुद ही ये solve कर देंगे at some point because they are doing it.
I mean, you will have
to build a new distribution. You'll have to build a newer voice model. Like your problems are much bigger than because ChatGPT, Anthropic, Google के लिए I'm sure one of their out of the 5 things they're trying to solve, one is voice.
Yeah, I would probably pick one industry that I will start with, right? Like voice for this industry, maybe, right?
Okay.
Like, and solve for that because you'll need very deep domain knowledge, for that kind of industry, right? And I think even some of the bigger, like if I were to do it, like I'll probably, even pick something like biology, right? Like drug discovery, like some of those things like are potentially multifold exponential return, like because so far like they've been sort of solved with traditional things, but AI apply करके it's a whole new thing, right? कि protein folding से लेके drug synthesis, simulation, I think at those intersection things are pretty wild. But I would say the easiest would be to pick an industry that you know well, right, and just think of an AI first version of that. I'm pretty sure that incumbents are going to take their time to sort of infuse AI into a bureaucratic system. But if you just start bottom up, saying that, hey, what would let's say podcasting with AI look like?
What do you think I should do? Let's say, hypothetically, if you were me, and I was like, okay, Raj, you're getting linear results. You're growing incrementally. Let's grow you exponentially and get you non-linear rewards.
Right.
What would it look like? What would you do if you were?
I mean, we can jam like some ideas, but like I would probably start building AI models, right? Like which are very representative, like looks very much like human. Create them online. Distribute them so that I have IP on them, right, and popularize their brand, and so I'm not restricted by my time, right, and there'll be an expert in every single thing, right, or maybe I'll create versions of Raj, which is an AI Raj, which is like an expert in AI, expert in politics, right, and then like reach out to a lot more people, right, and for example, I'm sure there are a lot of people that you would want to talk to, a lot of people who would want to talk to you. How do you enable that digital version of yours? I would probably create your distribution side, like how do you sort of exponentiate that using AI? I would probably think in that direction. Also like content creation is going to get relatively easy, right? With VO3, all of these coming out, right? So how do we sort of, like be on the edge of that, like figure out what are the nuances? How do we sort of do that? And I would also look at traditional sort of media industry and, traditional, let's say, ad industries that, like can be disrupted today, right? With AI, and how do I sort of, dip into that and grow there. Yeah.
Got it. And hypothetically, let's say you were to plug AI and your problem solving ability or maybe emergent tool
right
into Indian government. Okay. What would be that one department you would want to enter, and how would you disrupt it to make it better?
I would probably enter defense.
Okay.
Yes, because
क्या scratch से उधर disrupt करोगे? क्या खराब चल रहा है?
I think defense is gonna get the whole playbook is gonna be rewritten over the next decade, right? Like you'll have instead of bigger tanks, you'll have smaller drones. You'll have AI coordinating. Like most of these drone attacks, you'll have cyber attacks. Like I think especially with AI and now like robots and all of those things. Like I think the whole defense playbook is gonna get completely flipped, right? And I think there's huge opportunity to create like an online from India, right? And I mean that would have been one of the things I would have been doing if not emergent, right? Like so, because I think very few times you have this kind of disruption where like you have invested so heavily on some certain things, but like they are going to be worthless against an AI attack, right? And so I think there's a huge opportunity there. I also from national security perspective.
So when we were talking about this and I was asking you opportunities.
Right.
A question hit me that if all these jobs disappear,
right,
the Indian dream was work, like study hard, become an engineer, go to big software company or like TCS Wipro में तुम्हारी Infosys में job लग जाए, तुम एक software engineer बन जाओ या बाहर काम करने लग जाओ, whatever, right? This was fairly a low middle class Indian dream, right? This is being dead now. This is almost dying. What's the new Indian dream? What should be the new Indian dream?
I think to launch their own business, to get into entrepreneurship, to build in India, like using these tools and distribute. I just think that like a lot of people. I also think that India should have big aspirations to like just build big global companies.
Okay.
Like for example, like why has there been no Google or Facebook from India so far? Right. And when I came back to India, I actually like came back with this dream that, hey, we'll build, the next Google, next Facebook out of India. And that's what we're doing with Emergent right now, right? Like our goal is to be as big and successful as one of these tech giants, right? And I think India has, like hugely deep talent, right? And, it requires a little bit of mindset shift, right? Saying that, hey, we can do it. A little bit of courage. Ki ho jayega humse, and let's try. And I think people, once they start, thinking big, I think we can compete everywhere, right? And like really win, because, like we are a very talent dense country, right? And like super high IQ. And I think especially now is the time to like really, out dream yourself, right? And think big and just attempt it, because, like the cost of attempting things are going to keep coming down, right? So, you can take more shots at the goal, right? Think bigger. And generally, at least from my mindset, like, I always think in that direction. Yeah.
But what's the real scenario? We're behind right now. We're much behind. How far do you think we are? Agar you have to compare with US and China, these two are seen as the larger countries than India. Everyone else, more or less, India looks like it has the potential to beat or have beaten already, right? These are only US.
Right.
हम US और China से कितना पीछे? Actual
Quite
AI
behind.
scenario.
Decades probably. Yeah.
Decades, दोनों से.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have chips. We don't have energy infrastructure, right? And I think it's going to take us to build sovereign AI. It's going to take us some time. But the benefit is also that things are going to get easier, right? And
But आज बहुत पीछे.
आज पीछे हैं, but like I feel कि like India is sort of waking up to this now, like as more and more, opportunity, people see the opportunity. Like I think, people are going to get on it. And also the need is right now that, we sort of jump on this bandwagon and
But where should we lean today? Which side? US or China? Because look at the landscape, right? It's very difficult for India to.
Right.
आज हम पीछे हैं, हमें किसी की मदद तो लेनी पड़ेगी और किसी की चीज़ों पे तो बिल्ड करना पड़ेगा. When I remember there was a point जहाँ DeepSeek के कोई फीचर ने NVIDIA के $500 billion वाइप ऑफ कर दिए थे, right? In a single day.
Right.
That was insane. So
DeepSeek release, yes.
right, जिस चीज़ के लिए अमेरिका AI जिस मॉडल्स के लिए चार्ज करता है, चाइना वो फ्री में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है, right? Which side is winning?
I mean, right now, I think America is winning, right? Because
but then they're heavy, they're charging, there's something going on, and the other side maybe China copy कर रहा है पीछे है, लेकिन वो सब फ्री में बांटते जा रहा है. तो India को which side should we lean on?
Yeah, personally, I would feel that like given the democratic values, right, like US is a better side to lean on, and I think technologically also they're like way more advanced right now, and I think open source like permission is going to happen from US also now that a lot of people are sort of building open source, but yeah, I think China is a very like serious contender right now in the whole thing, and especially given their strength in robotics, energy development, right, and especially given that they're a neighbor also, right, like it's going to be like a hard play.
And do you think they're gonna, US and China, they're gonna become friends? Because Trump just started doing, Trump allowed NVIDIA to sell chips to China at a 25% hike, right? At a 25% price point. So start to gaya hai.
I think eventually,
S200, right?
S200, yeah. Eventually, economics will dictate a lot of things, right? And I think there is a economic. I think the fear there is that if they don't start selling, like they're going to develop theirs much faster, right? And I was also surprised to read the news, and
it's good or bad?
I think it's good because. In general, I think overall, like I'm a very big fan of capitalism, right? I think overall, as like if China is building better models, like that heats up the competition, like pushes everybody forward, right? And from my perspective, I feel that like if we are headed towards the AGI and everything, right? I think some of these things will get very, very out of control, which we can't see right now.
What's your biggest worry?
I would say probably a rogue AGI right now.
Explain. AGI क्या होता है? And then rogue AGI.
So AGI essentially means when the I mean everybody has their own definition. मेरा definition है कि when a model or a general AI system can actually do most of the work that humanity can do today, right? Knowledge work, right?
And वो खुद से खुद के decision ले
रहा है, and is sort of sentient, right? And
it happened, right? Recently, Gemini improved itself.
I mean, those are very minor,
but like
things.
It's a start.
Right.
It's start toward direction.
There's some
a large language model improved itself without any instruction, anything, just going on and on this race of becoming better.
हाँ, अभी काफी सारे ऐसे केसेस हैं, जैसे अभी एंथ्रोपिक ने पब्लिश किया था कि कि अलाइनमेंट का स्टडी था, जिसमें लाइक मॉडल को पता चला कि मेरे को टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, उसने खुद से झूठ बोल दिया कि to just pass that test. So it had knowledge that I was being tested and it was able to fake that test. Right. So I think that is a big risk right now. Ki, like nobody knows what is on the other side of AGI, ASI. Are we in a Terminator scenario? Are we in a Matrix scenario? Right. And like we would have thought that this is like a very fictional thing, but people who are closer to the field, like they truly understand that कि it is a real possibility.
कि एक time पे computers and this AI computing, whatever technology, will become way more powerful than humans.
Right.
And वो अपने आप ही decisions लेंगे. So they will run. Today we control it because we ask them to do certain things and they do the task.
Right.
Tomorrow we don't need to do that. They'll do it themselves. That's essentially the age of AGI, right?
Yes.
And then you said rogue AGI. What's your worry with rogue AGI?
अगर align नहीं है human से, like it thinks कि.
Give me a scenario. क्या हो सकता है?
I mean doomsday scenarios हैं. जैसे
example.
Like AI is optimizing for creation of factories and robots and clears out cities. Saying कि यहाँ factory बनानी है मेरे को, right? It could be that it manipulates humans to believe certain things, right? And expands. I think all the like bad movies on AI that we've seen, सारी चीजें like remotely possible है अभी.
तो rogue AGI मतलब कि वो किसी को इन्फ्लुएंस कर देगा, एक डिवाइस किसी इंसान को इन्फ्लुएंस करेगी to clear out the city and then you're gone. Maybe.
Yes. Possible है कि like AI once it decides कि हाँ अब humans की जरूरत नहीं है मेरे को, सीख लिया मैंने इतना. I mean again distant possibility, but I mean that's why alignment is very big research right now. And अभी OpenAI ने भी hire किया है like preparedness, readiness, function में.
How far are we from this doomsday जहाँ पे AI decide कर लेगा कि मेरे को humans की जरूरत नहीं, मारो इनको हटाओ?
Very low probabilities, and but could be anywhere between I mean it keeps changing. अभी लोगों के estimate change हो रहे हैं. अभी like next year we'll see the next big pre-training happen. अभी तक GPT-4 model जो pre-train हुआ था उसी के ऊपर चीजें चल रही है. Next year now a lot of computers becoming available this year. So we'll see like the next step jump.
What's your guess?
I mean, I think we'll have advanced AI like closer to AGI. I think like in 5 to 7 years. That is my like rough estimate right now.
Crazy.
Yeah.
क्या ही बात कर रहे हैं हम फिर जॉब्स की बिजनेस बनाने की.
नहीं, I think things are gonna move fast. And people.
What's long term in this then? Because अगर हर चीज we are talking 2-3 years बिजनेस बनाओ, बेचो, पैसे बनाओ, सब 2 साल में. तुम करियर स्टार्ट करो, खत्म हो जाओ 2-3 साल में. लाइक कोई स्किल सीखो, वो स्किल खत्म हो जाएगी 2-3 साल. लाइक एवरीथिंग इज जस्ट somehow come under 4 year cycle. So what's long term? Like, do you think the long term is only next 6 months?
नहीं. I mean, I feel कि so capabilities will start emerging, right? It'll take time to permeate through society. There will always be, there is obviously be some, and again, this is again extrapolating. Right? It could be that we have, so there is this concept ki fast takeoff, slow takeoff, right? Slow takeoff मतलब कि technology आएगा, but बहुत time लगेगा उसको, permeate होने में. And like, I mean, the outside chance is कि अगले 5, 6, 7 साल में, like we will be on the cusp of technology, which is supernatural, right? And I think people are talking a lot less about it, right, than they should, because if I agree, like अगर मान लो, like if that is a possibility, I mean, beyond that horizon you can't see right now, okay, what happens, right? And but at the same time, I think like who gets to AGI first is also important, right? And like who has control over it is also important, right? And it could be like it is distributed, right? And used for good. It could be that it is military controlled, government controlled. I mean, there'll be scenarios like that is going to play out, and like at least in probability space, I'll give it some probability.
You started the conversation with something, and I want to end that conversation with again understanding the thesis. You said cycle होती है.
Right.
अभी countries बहुत powerful है, and हम अब उस जगह पे जा रहे हैं, उस दुनिया में जा रहे हैं जहाँ corporations and companies countries से ज़्यादा powerful होने वाली है. Already हो गई है. कुछ companies are more powerful than large majority of the countries. Right. And then eventually individuals ज़्यादा. Right. Tell me, explain.
Right.
आज companies countries से ज़्यादा powerful है?
Economically है, right? For example, Nvidia today, right? Like literally controls like the future of AI in many ways, right? And I'm just saying कि जैसे church और state का war था पहले, right? Like it was clear that church was the authority, right? And it was then, like there were ideological differences, and then people sort of went there. And generally what I've seen is ki, like historically there are these cycles, right? Like where something will, it could be that, like religion is the next thing that comes up again, right? Like people want faith because everything is artificial and like, only thing that I can attach to myself to is faith, right? Maybe religion makes a comeback, right? So things move in cycle, right? And at least the way sort of I'm zooming out, when I zoom out and see, and every like markets have cycles, like seasons have cycles. So cycles are everywhere, and if you want to predict what's going to happen in future, like you'll have to intersect some of these cycles. That okay, what's going to happen. For example, we are in a massive technological cycle right now, so technology progress is going to continue. We are also in a massive. I would say the trust is eroding generally, right? So you'll have to see that we were in a high trust society, we're moving to a low trust society. Some societies, like for example, India was a low trust moving to a high trust, right? So I think generally the way I sort of try to predict, the future, what's going to happen is look at the world in this, like which cycles are we on right now, and I don't know if it's going to happen in like 10 years or 50 years, but it is clear that like nation and governments, right? You can see what's happening across the world, right? There is a natural sort of threshold to that, right? Where obviously like companies are going to get bigger, become bigger, right? And then government wants to intervene. At that point, if somebody is controlling like a really strong piece of technology, right? Like what do they do, right? So I think like those are things that are like quite
got it. One skill that will become absolutely worthless in next 2 years.
I mean, the way I think about it, and I'm also nuancing it, right, is ki the middle will disappear, right? But let's just take example of design, right? Do you think design, like of course AI is going to keep getting better at it. आप उसे बोलोगे कि ये design कर दो, वो design कर देगा आपका app या फिर this thing, but the taste, right? You still require that like that 1% human on the top who is actually able to direct and give the right input and like generate a better taste will have a lot more leverage, right? Because they can do that. And obviously at the bottom you'll have this layer where जो चीजें फंस रही है, like that 99th percentile 99% things are working, but that 1% is not working, you'll need like a lot of people at the bottom to sort of fix that, right? आपके website में एक छोटा bug है जो कोई आके fix कर देगा, and at the top, so I think I feel the middle is going to be occupied by AI completely, right? And जो लोग original thinker हैं, people who have good taste, people who are good at problem solving, like their leverage will increase multifold. Like one person will run, millions of dollars worth of company on his own because he can direct most of the things. And then you'll have a bottom layer which is sort of fixing a lot of the AI issues or training the AI, right? A lot of the work will become कि आप train कर रहे हो. Say one of the thoughts I have is कि like people will. In every generation, what happens is कि like there's a saying that your work today is gonna feel like play tomorrow, right? So let's say if you like let's say go to your great grandfather and say, hey, my job is I sit chat with interesting people, right? And that's how and he'll say यार मैं तो इतनी मेहनत करता था, हाँ खेत में जाता था, ये करता था, right? If you go and see somebody who's a gamer today, right, and they'll tell their great grandfather कि I sit on the computer and play games all day, that's how you make money, right? To them it's gonna feel like, hey yeah, this is a play, all right, हम कितनी मेहनत करते थे. I think same thing trend is gonna continue, right? I feel that a lot of people, to them the work is gonna start becoming like play. Maybe they are just playing games to train AI. Maybe they're like just looking at content and like training the AI. I think a lot of the people's work will be sort of just helping AI get better at things at the bottom layer, and the top layer would be to direct the AIs.
Interesting. And I feel like one of the things I can be wrong here. I'm just saying it from a very non-developer, non-techie side of things, which is don't put me on the spot for this, but I genuinely feel that people are obsessing over this one AI skill, which is prompt engineering.
Okay.
I think it's gonna die. I don't think it's like that important going on. Like it's just the basics and the fundamentals people need to learn. They need to learn how to be more clear and more nuanced in order to give instructions.
Right.
They don't need to do these like
Heavy
giant 10-day courses for prompt engineering and just obsess over it. हर चीज basic चीज भी तुम prompt engineering के framework में ही देखो. I think all of that is like crap.
Right.
Like in fact, I feel, at least my experience have been, my models give me much better answers when I'm much more casual than when I'm trying to
force
just putting a framework of doing this and that.
Right. No, I agree. I think like, I mean, we are seeing that on Emergent also, right? Earlier, it used to require you to prompt in a very detailed way, right? And like now even simple prompts are, like working, as good, because of course there is like this, back and forth of, what has AI understood so far about you, right? Yeah, I think all skills are like, going out of fashion, right, in some way.
So prompt engineering abhi fashion out of fashion ho jayegi.
Because the middle AI is going to keep eating, right? And I think the race is that, okay, are you the one who's directing the AI, right, in the right way? And I also think that where like abhi things get stuck is कि AI is not able to understand. आपको समझ नहीं पाया, आपने कुछ vague चीज बोला, तो prompt engineering is helpful there, right? कि आप कुछ बोलोगे और it's vague, and is it able to get context, and as memory improves, as it able to get a lot more context, बहुत सारी चीजें like simplify होती जाएगी. But till then, like I think prompt engineering is quite relevant till then.
In future, I'm saying today it's relevant. Today people get more results from it. I think in some time, I did couple of courses and I'm like, this doesn't. I mean, it's great to learn, but I think it's going to be relevant at some point. Right. Maybe 2 years, 5 years, it's not going to make sense. Like the obsession and the intensity which people are learning from, I think it's going to disappear in a while, because more and more people are going to build tools and things like yours, right. And your obsession at one point, or like OpenAI's obsession or Anthropic's obsession, will be that how can I make it easy for a very normal person, how can I make the system idiot proof? Right? And because you're going to be obsessing over that.
Yeah.
So you're definitely not going to obsess over how do I reward somebody who's like an excellent prompt engineer. You're going to be like, मैं राज के बोलने से पहले उसकी feeling कैसे समझ जाऊँ. You're going to obsess over that.
Right.
So if you guys are successful, which it looks like you will be.
Yes, definitely.
So then
right.
prompt engineers are going to
I think the like
the sense is
role of prompt engineering reduces. But again, then there'll still be like better prompters, like who would probably command 10x more leverage, right? Because they're able to unstuck system somewhere. So as I said, like my mental model right now is that middle is going to get hollowed, right? And at the bottom layer, like people are sort of training the AI, right? Mostly, correcting the mistakes.
And top 1% are builders.
Top 1% are builders. And I don't think that, and the top 1% can be a large part of humanity, right? I don't think it's the 1% of humanity, right? I think the amount of work that we need to get done, right? Like if we have to go to stars, if we have to solve every single disease, if we have to solve, teleportation, right? The amount of work that just humanity needs to do, right? Like is insane, right? Like, this is the time to sort of, imagine that we can go to next galaxies, right? Find new theorems, solve quantum computing, solve quantum mechanics.
But tell me if app banana, building gets easy. App अपने आप बन जाएगी, normal हर कोई बना सकता है.
Right.
मैं vibe coding करके बैठे बना कोई app, right? I've played with your tool a lot.
Right.
So अगर मैंने कर दिया, what gets hard? If building app and building software becomes easy, what's going to be harder now?
So if you look at,
because if everybody can build, right? Everybody can build app. Today, earlier the moat used to be, जिसने बहुत अच्छा सॉफ्टवेयर बना दिया, जिसने बहुत अच्छी ऐप बना दी, अब उसको फंडिंग मिलेगी, उसको चीज़ें मिलेगी, वो बहुत बढ़िया हो जाएगा. अब हर कोई बना सकता है ये. जब और आई एम श्योर अभी नहीं, बट इन 2-3 साल 5 साल में ऐसा हो जाएगा जहाँ हर कोई ऑलमोस्ट सेम चीज़ें बना पाएगा, राइट? इफ टॉप 0.1% हटा दो तो जब सब बना सकते हैं तो फिर व्हाट्स द हार्डेस्ट पार्ट?
Hardest part will be finding the right ideas, distribution, taste, right? And again, I think मेरे को लगता है कि अभी हम लोग काफी कंस्ट्रेंड थॉट प्रोसेस में है कि जीरो सम गेम है, लाइक फाइनाइट रिसोर्सेज है. हाँ, राइट. द नीड फॉर सॉफ्टवेयर इज इनफाइनाइट. लाइक लाइक यू विल हैव ऑन डिमांड सॉफ्टवेयर, राइट? लाइक यू लाइक अभी हम दोनों बात कर रहे थे, हम लोग वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस, लाइक क्रिश्चियनिटी एंड अदर थिंग्स, राइट? लाइक we would just prompt and say, like, show me a dashboard of, top religion and history and those kind of things, right? So I think the personalization of software, like every business needs a custom software, right? I feel that one thing is for sure, like teams are going to get smaller. जब पहले आप 50 लोगों की टीम में बनाते थे, आप 5 लोगों की टीम में बनाओगे, right? You will build, जैसे हमारे like Emergent में internally there was a big debate कि हम लोग Asana यूज करते थे पहले. Asana is this task management software, right? And कुछ लोग चाहते थे जीरा यूज करें, एंड झगड़ा हो गया कि नहीं, जीरा यूज नहीं करेंगे, आसाना यूज नहीं करेंगे. एंड somebody actually internally just vibe coded a new project management app, and everybody moved to that now. And so we gave up on like $2,000 per month of subscription of Asana, and built this entire app internally, and entire company has moved to that now, right? And so you'll see a lot of that happening, that where and because the reason was कि जीरा में यू कैन नॉट हैव स्प्रिंट्स लोअर देन अ डे और वीक. हम लोग दिन में 3 बार शिप करते हैं, तो हमें चाहिए था कि मॉर्निंग, इवनिंग, नाइट का स्लॉट रहे. हाँ, एंड नो टूल वाज सपोर्टिंग दैट, तो हमने खुद से बना लिया. हाँ, एंड दिस वाज लाइक senior QA engineer who just built it on his own because there was this, like commotion going on internally, and we gave up on the subscription. We were paying $2,000 a month, right? And we are seeing this across the org, right? Like where हमारी marketing team है, सुबह problem बोलो, शाम में वाइप कोड नया ऐप आ जाता है कि how are we tracking this, how are we doing that?
But is it as effective as Asana?
It is actually pretty good for us, right? Because we don't need so many things, and software is in our control. It is evolving the way we want it. It's because 90% of software gets built, like a lot of people use only the 20%, the basic, right? And a lot of it is bloat, right? And or you need like a lot of people to come in, customize, and because now people will be able to customize, and every company, every system like will have their own personal needs, right? So I think my thesis is that like need of software is going to continuously increase. People will increasingly get more and more dynamic, on-demand software. I also think the nature of software is going to change because a lot of it will be just an instruction to an agent. You may not even need a software to
Here's
do
my worry.
that.
Here's my worry. So because I'm moving to Asana, right? And I know this. I worked on this tool before, and now the company is getting bigger. Project management is becoming pain. Abhi tak to WhatsApp se chalta tha. So now you have to do.
Right.
Okay, we are going through that transition, and we were like, ClickUp use kare, Asana use kare, a bunch of other things. We were going through the same tool, right? I like Asana because उसमें कुछ नहीं है ज़्यादा. It's simple, basic, right? Like ClickUp is probably better for customization, but मुझे उस level की चीज़ें ही नहीं चाहिए. It's इतना complicated. I don't want it, at least for my work.
Right.
And then my worry is if I build something Asana, I don't have to think about is it getting better, is it getting worse, क्या bug आएंगे, कभी अटका कुछ हुआ, क्योंकि the company is taking care of it.
Right.
But अगर मैं खुद की बनाऊंगा तो problem होगी नहीं सब.
Initially, maybe, right. And software maintenance is also going to get very easy. Right, जैसे आप हमारे पे बनाओ and deploy करो, we take care of your scaling, we take care of all those things, right? You can come and customize it as you want, right? And you'll have different versions of it that you want to run. And initially, obviously, there'll be some hiccups. Like you are maintaining sort of maybe somebody else is going to build like a simpler, cheaper Asana, right? And say, hey, this is task management software for people who are running a podcast business, right? Or a media business, right? And like, this is like really, really tailored for you, right? Maybe you'll buy that custom software versus buying
any other big
Asana, right? Which is, so Asana is great, but...
And it's expensive.
It is expensive and it has a lot of restriction. Like, why does Jira exist? Because Jira is a lot more complex. Like, you can do a lot of things like, divide teams, you can, manage sprints and other things, right? And so there's obviously like, a difference between like Jira, which is a lot more complex, but I think there's this wave of, new software that's going to get created, which is very, very personalized to your sort of need, right? And you'll probably have...
And who does the maintenance? Like, you'll have to have somebody from the team doing it again and again.
Right. And I mean, like...
Or do you guys have like a service under the product business that you have?
Abhi to nahi hai. We don't have it, right? But, like there will be emergent experts who will sort of maintain the software for you. I think there'll be like a new cottage industry that'll sort of, spring up, as the vibe coding movement sort of takes up. Where you'll have parallel economies running, where people are maintaining your software, and you can sort of build things on them. But I think the way AI is progressing, I think a lot of power will go to the end user, right? This is my individuality thing also, right? Like like you like once you start trusting it, like you'll say, like, hey, मेरे को ये भी feature डाल दो, right? I don't, and it'll happen, and I mean. Maybe like you'll start with one version of the software, right, and then sort of give it to somebody else to sort of build it, maintain it, right, as you sort of learn more. But you can totally see there'll be like a task management software for your industry or for you, which will be built at a very cheap cost, and you'll have full control over it.
At one side there are a lot of people who are scared of losing their jobs,
right,
and then they're at one side where people like you sitting out of India, building it for the world, you are growing at a crazy pace.
Right.
You're raising millions of dollars. You're generating millions of dollars of revenue. You're killing it, right?
Right. And
you're building this big thing. So there's a fair shot of you making it big. You've already built businesses before.
Right.
You've gone through this whole cycle and you understand this whole phase, right? So, should anybody take a risk to leave their dying industry if they're very talented and join someone like you? And B, who are the kind of people, if they join, what are the risks involved?
Yeah, so I mean, we are seeing crazy growth right now. We just recently crossed $50 million in ARR. Right now we are, one of the fastest growing AI startups in the world, and like in the history of the world, right? Like not just like in AI companies, but historically no company has grown this fast. Like there are only a handful. Yeah. When we have crossed 50 million in like under 7 months, and our growth is accelerating. Like with every month, like the number of people we are adding, the number of revenue we are adding is actually accelerating right now. And we just closed like a large Series B. We are right now one of the most top funded AI startups in the world right now. I mean, in India right now. And
how did you close?
We have closed a $70 million round.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that puts us in like $100 million raise so far. And we are building, and currently like we have the best part in the market for this category. And this category is going to be like a super huge category where, we will democratize all of the software development. And right now I feel like, anybody who's building anything in any industry should jump the ship to an AI native company, right? For two reasons. One is the learning curve is extremely steep, right? Like most of the learning will come when you are in a high growth startup, in a new area. And this is literally like 1995 when internet was happening and people were in like, older retail jobs and these kind of things. Most of the money over the last 30 years got made from internet companies, right? So similar things are going to happen in AI right now, right? And people, first is learning, second is obviously the financial upside, right? The rate at which companies like us are growing right now, right? I think it's like the best time to sort of come and join companies like Emergent, right? Where like we are super young, super early, extremely sort of going after a really large market, right? And growing super fast. And the work is extremely exciting right now. Like the kind of work that you get to do are almost like you always need like first principle thinking to solve the problems. A lot of leverage because we are AI first as a company. So you get a lot of, you think in an AI first way. And small teams, like really large problems, never been solved problems before, and extremely fun place right now, right? So,
but tell me, here's my worry. A lot of young people,
yes.
A lot of like extremely talented people are going to watch this.
Yeah.
And one side of them is like, okay, this is exciting.
Right.
मुझे भी AI का part बनना है.
Yeah.
अगर इंडिया से कोई कंपनी है जो ग्लोबल लेवल पे, वर्ल्ड लेवल पे बहुत तेजी से बढ़ रही है, because one side is you have sort of like missed the ship of joining OpenAI or Anthropic because they're like really large companies now.
Right.
That's one. Second is India से बहुत ही rare कोई बन रहा है.
Right.
तो और थर्ड AI में ही बन रहा है, फास्ट ग्रोइंग है, पैसे बन रहे हैं, वन ऑफ द वेल फंडेड कंपनी सब है. तो इट्स एक्साइटिंग, मे बी फाइनेंशियल रिवॉर्ड्स अपसाइड होगा. बहुत अच्छा
लर्निंग भी, हाँ.
राइट, लर्निंग भी अपसाइड होगा, बहुत सारी चीज़ सीखने मिलेगी. सेकंड इज माई वरी कि व्हाट इफ AI इज बूम, लाइक इट्स जस्ट अ बबल जो सब खत्म हो जाए और ये रैंडम बबल है, कुछ नहीं है, बस हाई सुपर फंडेड कंपनीज एक दिन एकदम से बस्ट होगा ये बबल, और जैसा क्रैश आया था वर्ल्ड में .com टाइम पे वैसे ही इधर भी आ जाएगा. सो माई वरी इज दैट मैं अपनी स्टेबल अच्छी जॉब छोड़ के एक यंग स्टार्टअप में चले जाऊँ तो मुझे नहीं पता मेरे पैसे बनेंगे नहीं बनेंगे, ये सब फालतू हुआ तो
नहीं. आई थिंक इवन इफ AI प्रोग्रेस स्टॉल्स टुडे, व्हिच बहुत कम चांसेस है, like the way progress is going, like there is enough that industries will get transformed, right? It is quite apparent. Of course there may be like some momentary temporary bubble that might get formed, like which will be in my opinion much bigger than where we are today, right? And but I mean जिसने भी 95 में इंटरनेट ज्वाइन किया होगा ना, वो आज रिग्रेट नहीं कर रहा होगा, राइट? लाइक वो मे बी 2099 वाले बबल में मे बी दे वुड हैव बीन सैड फॉर लाइक कपल ऑफ डेज, लाइक कपल ऑफ ईयर्स मे बी, राइट? बट दे वुड हैव बीन कमिंग आउट like super, like they would be people who are at the top today, right? So I think, like anybody who's jumping on AI today, right, and especially AI native companies like Emergent, like like where you have hard problems, you get to start thinking from AI first way. I mean, they are probably most likely to win in the next decade or so.
Why should somebody leave their stable job in a large company where their promotion is due and they know they're going to become something, to join some young company at very small scale?
Right.
And it's very unstable and risky. What's the incentive? I get it. One is financial incentive, which is almost like कि तुम खुद नहीं बनाते हो startup, तो तुम ऐसे startup को join कर लो जहाँ almost like you're building only. So you're almost a mini entrepreneur inside an ecosystem where you have to not care about money. So that's a one incentive which I love a lot. I love a lot of young people should join us because we are doing something what media companies 30 years ago did, some sort of that, right? So I'm excited by that. Right. But what's the other incentive? उसके अलावा क्या? बस एक ही पैसे ज़्यादा बनाने ताजो नहीं तो नहीं.
नहीं, I think financial is the least incentive, right? I think people like doing good work will make money wherever they are, and I think of course like like people like us, companies like us like will be financially like extremely rewarding for people, right? Like both in terms of like comp and equity and everything. First I think is like you get to work with like really, really smart people. Like half the team is like under 100 IT rankers, in engineering, right? So you really, really get to work with really smart people. Second is you get to work on really, really hard, newer problems. Like this is the problems that world has never solved before, right? And you get to, take the first chance at solving some of these problems. A lot of problems that we have solved, a lot of people have not solved yet, right? So you are on the extreme bleeding edge of technology. Every single day internally I see a demo that blows my mind, right? And you'll get to experience that, you'll get to build that, right? Thirdly, like you also, get a chance to like really shape the future of AI and humanity, right? Like, you get to sort of have a say in like, what direction humanity is going to go, right? And very few people, will get the chance to sort of be part of the ship where, like you're actually really directing. For example, let's say, you joining Google in like 95, 96, right? Like those people like really shaped up, what our internet looks like today, right? And today, like people have this opportunity to sort of really come in and, solve and shape the way sort of humanity is going to sort of build tomorrow, right? And really, really democratize and empower all of humanity, right? That's sort of, the way, we actually like want only people who are like extremely mission oriented, people who actually really care about making a large impact in the world, right? And if you care about impact, if you care about building something, giant, great, right? If you want to sort of compete at the top global level, right? Internally, we say that we are in an Olympics game because now we are competing with every single person or every single company, like at the top level, right? So if you want to have, really experience what like highest of standards look like in the globally, right? If you want to really feel like what does problem solving at, where maybe a handful of 10, 20 people are capable of solving these kind of problems. Like if you want to experience that kind of thing, then Emergent is the place to come.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think people have, but it's crazy, man. It's scary, even though it sounds too good to join. It is scary. But the other side of me is also like, when I put a hat on, if I had to switch industries and not producing,
right.
The other side is, if I can't see anything crazy happening in the work that I'm doing right now, even then I'm at a shit place whether I should be more scared, because probably this one's gonna go faster than something new which I'm trying to become part of. So,
right. No, I think,
like people should think about upskilling themselves, and if they have an opportunity to join some young startup where they can learn faster, they can shape the way world is going, and they have a fair shot of good financial reward, I think they should. Because being stuck at where they are is more problematic and more scary than not joining an unstable boat.
I wouldn't call us unstable, right? Like, in the sense that, like, I think...
No, the world is unstable right now. I'm saying startup like yours, right. Mine, or even like OpenAI, like we don't know, like NVIDIA also, because like this is, we are working in a world which is unstable.
I think that is, only risk right now is not taking those risks.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Totally. And I think as long as people are like deep into AI, I think that they're going to be fine. Yeah.
Interesting. Where were you born?
I was born in Chandigarh.
Okay.
And we are triplets. So we were,
Triplets?
Yes. I have...
All three you look same?
No. So I have a sister. She lives in New Zealand now. And I have a brother, Madhav, who lives in SF. And with whom I'm starting Emergent.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a pretty fun childhood.
Okay. And then all three of you... Like, do you guys look same?
So me and Madhav look similar, but not exactly same. If we were looking same, like our life would have been very different. Sare exam Madhav de deta. I was never good in exams.
Nice. And then, so you guys grew up. Uske baad, which college did you go to?
So college maybe I went to NIT Allahabad, and there मेरे को थोड़ा रियलाइजेशन हुआ कि करियर कुछ होगा. क्योंकि पहली बार जब मेरे को लाइफ में लगा कि IIT मिस हो गया, उससे पहले मेरे को लगता नहीं था कि कि
IIT
क्या है. हाँ, एग्जैक्टली. हाँ, एंड जब मैं पहली बार जब मैं गया एंड देखा मैंने कि सारे स्मार्ट लोग वहाँ जा रहे हैं, राइट, एंड द काइंड ऑफ पीपल देयर आर. मेरे को रियलाइज हुआ कि अच्छा हाँ लाइक मिस हुआ है.
Okay.
Right.
Which one did your brother go to?
He went to ITBHU.
Okay.
So it was pretty close by. I was in Allahabad, he was in Banaras. And we used to spend a lot of time together tab. And पहली बार realize हुआ कि हाँ कुछ like first time I had like this adult sense कि like I could have been there. And थोड़ी सी और पढ़ाई की होती तो and then थोड़ा serious हो गया मैं कि ठीक है अब लाइफ में कुछ करना है. And I used to be very inspired by बिल गेट्स एंड स्टीव जॉब्स. क्योंकि मेरे को पहली बार किसी ने बताया था कि लाइक दुनिया का रिचेस्ट आदमी जो है वो सॉफ्टवेयर बना के बना है. तो मैं कह रही है तो फिर मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. राइट कि लाइक जो रिचेस्ट बंदा है तब था वो. एंड तो आई गॉट वेरी इंस्पायर्ड कि मुझे भी आता है सॉफ्टवेयर लिखना, मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. एंड फिर उसके बाद मैंने काफ़ी मेहनत की. आई गॉट इंटर्नशिप इन IT मद्रास. देन थर्ड ईयर आई वेंट टू स्पेन फॉर माई इंटर्नशिप. हमारे कॉलेज से कोई आज तक गया नहीं था फॉरेन इंटर्नशिप में. IITs में काफ़ी कॉमन होता है. एंड तो आई पुट इन लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट. मैंने एक स्क्रिप्ट लिखा जो कि सारे प्रोफेसर को ढूंढता है ऑनलाइन, सबको ऑटोमेटिकली ईमेल करता है जो आउटबाउंड मार्केटिंग. एंड खुद से मैंने लिखा स्क्रिप्ट की सारे इंटरनेट पे प्रोफेसर ढूंढो, उनको कस्टमाइज करके मेल भेजो कि मैं थर्ड ईयर स्टूडेंट हूँ, पढ़ना चाहता ये करना चाहता हूँ, ये मैंने रिसर्च किया है. एंड 3-4 इंटर्नशिप ऑफर आ गए थे मेरे पास. एंड आई वेंट टू स्पेन. एंड देन मेरा काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट था रिसर्च करने में. तो माधव एक्चुअली वेंट टू पेन स्टेट फॉर हिज PhD. एंड आई ऑल्सो वेंट टू कोलम्बिया टू डू माई PhD. एंड न्यूयॉर्क में. एंड फिर मैंने जब हम लोग गए तब 2009 था. तो 2008 में फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस था. एंड मतलब I was not very like reading news and other thing. मेरे को सब लगता था कि ये सब तो हो जाएगा. Like I didn't understand the gravity of a financial depression then.
कि क्या होता है.
क्या होता है. एंड पहुंच गया न्यूयॉर्क में. पहले दिन सीनियर्स के साथ बात कर रहे हैं और सब लोग किसी की जॉब नहीं लगी है. राइट. एंड सब लोग परेशान है कि जॉब नहीं लगेगी. एंड बट लकीली आई गॉट इनटू गूगल इन इंटर्नशिप. और फिर मैं जो PhD में करना चाहता था मुझे पता चला कि गूगल ने ऑलरेडी 2-3 साल पहले कर लिया है. एंड फिर मैं सोचा यार ये क्या फ़ायदा है रिसर्च दोबारा करने का जो कि पता है कि कोई आउटपुट है नहीं इसका. तो फिर मैंने गूगल ज्वाइन कर लिया. तो मेरे को गूगल काफ़ी चला काम करने में. लाइक काफ़ी अच्छे लोग थे और प्रॉब्लम्स काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग थे. स्केल काफ़ी बड़ा था. तो मैंने गूगल को बोला कि मेरे को न्यूयॉर्क में ही रहना है और सर्च टीम में ही काम करना है क्योंकि मेरा सर्च में काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट था. तो एक छोटी टीम नई क्रिएट हो रही थी न्यूयॉर्क में. तो आई गॉट इनटू दैट टीम. एंड फिर मैंने अपने एडवाइज़र को बोला कि PhD तो नहीं करना है मेरे को अब. सो दिस सेट कि मास्टर्स ख़त्म कर लो फिर ज्वाइन कर लेना गूगल. तो फिर मैंने गूगल ज्वाइन किया. एंड 3 साल था मैं गूगल में. एंड काफ़ी कुछ बनाया वहाँ पे. लाइक आई वॉज द पर्सन विद द मोस्ट आइडियाज़ देयर ऑफन. एंड आई वुड पुश एवरीबडी अराउंड कि ये क्यों नहीं कर रहे, ये क्यों नहीं कर रहे, ये क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं. दैट यंग एनर्जी. एंड पीपल यूज्ड टू बी वेरी आई वुड से लाइक एक्साइटेड बट देन ऑल्सो कि भाई रुक जाओ. राइट कि कर रहे हैं. एंड काफ़ी कुछ सीखा वहाँ पे कि इंजीनियरिंग कैसे करते हैं स्केल पे. हाउ डू यू बिल्ड high quality teams, how do you build a culture where everybody is always excited about great work. How do you focus on user. And back in those days Google का काफ़ी strong था culture. एंड काफ़ी कुछ वहाँ पे हमने शिप किया. गूगल में नॉलेज ग्राफ प्रोजेक्ट में था मैं पहले. फिर सर्च क्वालिटी पे था कि जो भी आप google.com पे टाइप करते हो क्या आंसर रिजल्ट कहाँ पे आएगा वो हमारी टीम करती थी. कि नंबर 1 पे क्या रिजल्ट आएगा, नंबर 2 पे क्या रिजल्ट आएगा. एंड दैट पहला टाइम था जो आई वर्क विद लॉट ऑफ बिग डेटा स्टफ. तो लॉट ऑफ लर्निंग्स देयर. बट थोड़ी देर के बाद लगने लगा कि अब मेरे आइडियाज़ कुछ सुन नहीं रहा है. ये मैं पुश करना चाह रहा हूँ कि अरे ये भी तो ऑब्वियस है, ये भी तो ऑब्वियस है, ये भी कर लो. एंड थोड़ा फ्रस्ट्रेटेड होने लगा कि मैं और तेज़ भागना चाहता हूँ और ये लोग धीरे धीरे भाग रहे हैं. तो फिर मैं सोचा कि अब स्टार्टअप करता हूँ. एंड
क्या इनसाइट था डंजो स्टार्ट करने के पीछे?
इनसाइट ये था कि सबको कन्वीनियंस चाहिए. एंड पैसा लोगों के पास आ रहा है अब. लाइक इकोनॉमी ग्रो हो रही है. एंड लोगों को ये छोटे मोटे काम में टाइम नहीं स्पेंड करना,
एक जगह से दूसरी जगह कुछ पहुंचाना है।
पहले हमने स्टार्ट किया था एज अ कॉन्शियस सर्विस, कि आप कुछ भी भेज दो, आपको कार रिपेयर करना है, आपको इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का बिल पे करना है, जो भी करना है। एंड सेकंड हमें ये लग रहा था कि अब क्योंकि मोबाइल फ़ोन सबके पास आ रहा है, एंड डेटा का कॉस्ट कम हो रहा है, एंड ऑफ कोर्स ऊबर वाज आल्सो देयर एज अ मॉडल। ये लगने लगा कि जो लेबर है, जो वर्क है, that can be distributed now, and there'll be enough economy created on this side, and that you can create a marketplace of both, where a lot of people want to outsource some work. There are enough people who want to do that work, and you can make the economics work. And largely काफ़ी कुछ पर्सनल उससे था कि we wanted to live a convenient life, and कि यार हमें अगर कोई हमारा ये काम कर दे तो हमारे लिए अच्छा है। एंड हमें लगा कि और भी लोग होंगे हमारे जैसे जो कि चाहते हैं कि दे कैन आउटसोर्स सम वर्क। उसी से स्टार्ट किया था। एंड जब भी डिलीवरी बॉय कम हो जाते थे हम लोग खुद जाते थे डिलीवरी करने। स्टार्टिंग में तो हम लोग हफ्ते में 20-30 डिलीवरी खुद करते थे। एंड उससे काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिला कि यूज़र को क्या चाहिए। एंड जब आप एक ह्यूमन से मिलते हो, एंड you see the smile on their face. And काफ़ी अर्ली में डंजो वाज अ सेवियर इन मेनी वेज, कि लोगों को लास्ट मिनट में कुछ चाहिए, चाबी भूल गए हैं, लैपटॉप का चार्जर भूल गए हैं, मिडनाइट में कुछ खाना चाहिए, तो you could see that delight on their face कि oh डंजो saved their day.
So what happened? डंजो was instant hit. काफ़ी नाम हुआ, फैला भी.
Right.
You were able to raise and attract capital also.
Right.
क्या हुआ, क्या खराब हुआ डंजो में?
So डंजो was almost a phenomena, right, in many ways, and हम लोग pioneers थे on one of the biggest trends that got created, quick commerce, and generally if you अगर आप देखो founder journey, right, like अगर आप रैंक करोगे क्या क्या चीज़ें मैटर करती है, नंबर 1 है कि आप सही मार्केट में हो कि नहीं, आपको कितना भी अच्छा, सेकंड इज प्रोडक्ट, थर्ड इज टीम एग्जीक्यूशन, ऑल ऑफ दैट। एंड जनरली like most companies fail because उन्होंने मार्केट गलत चूज़ कर लिया, टाइमिंग गलत थी। एंड हमारे लिए ये था कि हम उस मार्केट में से जो कि इंडिया में वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट ट्रेंड्स है अभी, तो वी वर इन द राइट मार्केट, वी हैड द बेस्ट प्रोडक्ट, वी हैड द बेस्ट वी हैड अ ग्रेट ब्रांड, ग्रेट कस्टमर सर्विस। फ्यू थिंग्स हैपेंड, आई फील कि हम अनलकी रह गए थोड़ा, क्योंकि ऑनेस्टली, राइट, क्योंकि मतलब अगर हम लोग 2 महीने और सर्वाइव करते हमारी स्टोरी वुड हैव बीन वेरी डिफरेंट। हम लोग फंस गए बीच में कि इकोनॉमिक डाउनटर्न आया, वी वर नॉट एबल टू रेज कैपिटल, इवन दो हमारी बिजनेस का यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स बिकेम वेरी गुड ओवर टाइम, एंड ऑफ कोर्स लाइक रिफ्लेक्टिंग बैक देयर वर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वी वुड हैव डन डिफरेंटली, बट जनरली मतलब एटलीस्ट मेरे को ये लग रहा है कि हमारी स्टोरी काफ़ी डिफरेंट होती, क्योंकि हमने सारी हार्ड चीज़ें की, सही मार्केट में आए, काफ़ी देर तक सर्वाइव किया, अच्छी टीम बनाई, अच्छा प्रोडक्ट बनाया, अच्छा ब्रांड बनाया,
ऑप सॉल्व किया,
हाँ। एंड बट हमारे साथ हुआ गया कि हम लोग काफ़ी जल्दी स्केल कर रहे थे, हाँ, और हम डार्क स्टोर मॉडल में चले गए थे। वी वर स्पेंडिंग लॉट ऑफ मनी सेटिंग अप द डार्क स्टोर, स्केलिंग रियली फास्ट, एंड उस समय हमारा एजम्पशन था कि हम और पैसा रेज करते रहेंगे, हाँ, राइट। हमने 200 मिलियन रेज किया था, हमने सोचा कि अभी 6 महीने में और कर लेंगे रेज, हाँ, एंड हम उस रेट पे स्पेंड कर रहे थे कि जल्दी स्केल करते हैं चीज़ें, हाँ। बट एट द सेम टाइम हम लोग हमारे पास बहुत सारे बिजनेस लाइन थे, पिकअप एंड ड्रॉप था, मार्केट प्लेस था, फूड था, बहुत सारी चीज़ें, और डार्क स्टोर वाज द वन विच वाज वर्किंग। एंड वन मिस्टेक आई थिंक वी डिड वाज कि वी शुड हैव शट डाउन एवरीथिंग एल्स एंड फोकस ओनली ऑन डार्क स्टोर, बिकॉज दैट वाज द वन दैट वाज गोना वर्क इंटरनली, जो क्विक कॉमर्स आज कर रहा है, एंड वी वर वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट पीपल टू सेट अप डार्क स्टोर्स इन द कंट्री,
जो आज ज़ेप्टो ब्लिंकिट कर रहे हैं।
हाँ, बिल्कुल, हाँ, लाइक हमारे पास मॉडल था, हम ऑलरेडी देख रहे थे कि चल सकता है।
ब्रांड वैल्यू पहले से ही बहुत बड़ी,
ब्रांड वैल्यू बहुत था, हाँ, राइट।
वेल, it could go on for different things, but thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
I loved having conversation with you.
Right.
I know that you've built an app for me.
Yes.
Right. What is it? मेरे लिए क्या app बनाई है, and कितना easy है बनाना. We can ship it. We can show it right now.
Right.
What did you think about? Tell me and show me that.
Yeah. Right. So let's create a, as we were discussing, can people create podcasts with you?
Okay.
Let's try to create a virtual podcast thing with you, where people can create a podcast with Raj.
Okay.
Right. And we'll just have to prompt it saying that, hey, I want to build an app like this. Right. And so let's say I want to prompt it.
So we'll prompt it right here.
Yeah, so we can just create an AI-powered podcast creation studio where users can generate podcasts by writing prompts, clone their voice, use pre-made AI voices, including featured host voice of Raj Shamani. And host is Raj, and we can add more voices. So let's just start with like simple prompt. We'll just start with this, right? And this will set up our environment, a sandbox that we create for where your agency is going to run. And as soon as you start, it's like now your app is building. Now we can chat in the background. Your app is going to get built, right? It might ask you some questions, and you'll get first version in a few minutes. Then you can play around with it, give it more feedback. And, as we are going through the chat, we can let the app build in the background.
How fast can I build certain apps? Let's say, I try to do one, which was a basic one. Let me ask you a little more complicated one. Just I like this idea of एक task manager बनाना है for the podcast company. I love that.
Right.
I want to build that. मेरा खुद का task manager जो मेरी company use कर सके just for the podcasters.
Yes. You can build this in like a week, I mean, by a week means that you'll still have to probably spend some time back and forth, and depending on the complexity. The first version you'll get like in like a couple of hours.
Okay.
Right.
And then I'll keep prompting. Yeah, you'll what are the chances it'll fail?
I mean, it will fail like, maybe 20-30% of time.
Okay.
Right. Like where in the fail, in the sense that it'll still have some bugs. But you can just tell the agent, hey, this is what I'm facing the issue, and it'll sort of go and fix it. And because, like we do all of the testing, debugging, all of those things automatically for you, right? All you have to do just is keep testing the app and debugging. So it basically asks you some question like, for example, what voice generation you want to use. So let's say 11 labs, like we have like, integration with 11 labs. 11 labs. It's asking like, what LLM do you want to use for script generation? Let's say GPT 5.2. And then it'll ask you a bunch of questions like, hey, do you want to add any new feature? So we give you a lot of things built in, like authentication, databases, all of those things are built in, right? And then you'll say, okay, just build. And I mean, it is as easy as just chatting with your developer. You just chat with it, like it'll start doing its work. It'll run for maybe like 15-20 minutes in a session. It'll give you the one version. So every 15-20 minutes, you'll get one update saying that, hey, this is what I've built so far.
So you're telling me कि हर इंसान
right
जो ये देख रहा है उसकी जो भी प्रॉब्लम है उसके लिए ऐप बना सकता है.
Totally.
Right? कितने रुपए में?
तो वो वेरी करता है कि कितना कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है. Right, people I would say typically you'll get an app build like for $50 to anywhere between $5,000, right, and depending on complexity of the app. अगर आप complex बना रहे हो
app like this जैसे random छोटी app बनानी मुझे,
this will be under like $50. You can build an app like this.
That's it.
Yes.
And then I can do whatever. I can build my own habit tracker.
Like just showing you here, like now we have a design agent that has come in, right? It's trying to, design your app, right? So we have multiple agents that will come in at different point of time during the app building. So it got your requirement. It looked through its memory to figure out ये integration कैसे करना है. It figured out 11 labs का integration कैसे करना है. Looking at, it, like the agent has the memory of like what all apps it has built in the past. And now this design agent has come in. It's trying to read your prompt and understand like what are the best. It's going to do some research online. It's going to try to figure out. It's going to take some images.
Okay. And
it's trying to figure out what is the best way to design your app. Right. Trying to find some themes, and it's going to put it
just
back in this.
What kind of apps people can make? Matlab, what is the most common kind of problem that people are trying to solve by building an app which is personalized for them?
So we have a lot of small, medium business owners who are trying to digitize their business.
Okay.
Just say, factory people, manufacturing, construction. A lot of people are building ERPs, procurement software. A lot of people are building CRMs and those kind of things on the platform. A lot of entrepreneurs are building AI apps. Roughly, 50% of our apps have some AI component in it. And especially because AI, it compresses the logic, right? Because you can now prompt a lot of things, right? A lot of people are trying to build like AI lawyers, AI chatbots, for their specific industries. A lot of people are trying to build agents on the platform today, right? So AI as a theme is pretty big. People are building voice agents. Somebody built, somebody automated their whole calling function using Emergent, right? And people build that.
What is it saying?
So it's saying that, hey, do you have an API key for 11 labs? I have one. I'll just give it to it. So wherever it requires that help, will come and ask for you. For example,
Okay.
it wanted like, hey, do you want to use your key or my key? And then I just give it a key saying use my key. And it'll take us like 20-25 minutes to get the first version out. And then, like we can...
Done. And we'll have that app.
Yeah.
We'll put it here in the editing
Yes,
in the end
yes.
to show people
we can show what the app is.
Perfect.
Right,
done.
right.
Nice. Thank you
Cool,
so
man.
much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
me. It was really fun.
Everyone talks about success, but almost no one talks about the trade-offs behind it. The late nights, the wrong decisions, the uncomfortable learning. Today's conversation is about what it really takes.
Hey, Raj. Great to meet you. How are you?
brother. Please come on in. Ajo.
All good shoes?
Yeah, all good.
Awesome.
What's up?
All great. I've heard so many of your shows. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you, man. You're doing killer work. I believe I'm this 5-year-old kid sitting in front of you, and I'm randomly curious about everything that you have done, so I want to learn more. So that's the whole process. In fact, Israel का मेरे को एक process बहुत अच्छा लगता है, which I follow in my life now. तो इसराइल में जब भी बच्चे बाहर जाते हैं, स्कूल में जाते हैं, फिर पूरा दिन स्कूल से होके आते हैं, फिर घर आते हैं, तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो उनकी मॉम उनसे पूछती है इसकी आज क्वेश्चन सबसे बढ़िया कौन सा पूछा, एंड दैट्स अ प्रैक्टिस एंड इट्स जस्ट देयर. सो दे आस्क तुमने आज सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा, और वो बताते कि आज मैंने ये पूछा. एंड इट्स अ हैबिट दैट एवरी डे यू आस्क योर किड what question did you ask. So you're training your kid to be more curious and ask more questions and raise more questions in the world. And I do that. Like every night I go back to bed and be like, I write down एक सबसे बढ़िया क्वेश्चन कौन सा. अब तो मैंने मेरे AI पे एजेंट बना दिया, उससे बोल देता हूँ मैं कि मुझसे ही एक बढ़िया क्वेश्चन पूछ कि जो मैंने पूछा, और फिर मैं सोचता हूँ कि अच्छा ऐसा क्वेश्चन मैं गेस्ट से ही पूछूंगा. लाइक इट्स अ हैबिट एवरी डे दैट अच्छा आज मैंने क्या पूछा. इट्स एन इनक्रेडिबल थिंग टू डू. थैंक यू सो मच ये एपिसोड एंड तक देखने के लिए. अब आपको 3 चीजें करनी है. सबसे पहले इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लो, क्योंकि जितना आप सब्सक्राइब करोगे उतने ही बेहतर और वैल्यूएबल गेस्ट हम ला पाएंगे आपके लिए. नंबर 2, मुझे कॉमेंट्स में बताओ इस एपिसोड में आपको क्या अच्छा लगा और क्या गंदा लगा, ताकि हम वो मिस्टेक्स रिपीट ना कर पाए. एंड कौन से ऐसे गेस्ट हैं जो आप देखना चाहते हो वापस हमारे पॉडकास्ट पे, ताकि हम उन्हें लेके आएं और आपको ज़्यादा वैल्यू दे पाएं. एंड नंबर 3, ये एपिसोड किसी एक इंसान के साथ ज़रूर शेयर करना, क्योंकि one conversation can change someone's life. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep figuring out.